So my name is Mandy Robert. I've done the Wake Up Now business for about 8 months, and it's been a journey, let me say. This business has taught me a lot about myself. I didn't get started in the industry until about 5 years ago in August. My husband had always told me, you would do really great in this, you like to talk to people and things like that, but I just wasn't sure if it was for me. I was like, I don't know anybody that wants to buy a $50 bottle of juice, I'm like, I don't even understand that concept. But then I saw other people around me struggling, and we were involved in a company that I thought, well, this one pays 33% more than anybody else right now, so better shot than anything else out there, so let's do it, I guess. And I found out a lot about myself in the business as a leader, because I didn't want to just be, the pretty arm candy on Brian's side. And I've been privileged to be in magazines with him and things, but I'm like, I didn't really earn it. My background, I actually ran a call center. I had about 350 people that worked with me, and that's what I knew. So network marketing was huge, or completely different for me, except that the people are pretty much the same. People love people. And you can love people that you don't lead, but in order to lead people, you need to love them. I'm going to repeat that one more time just in case you're taking notes like you probably should be. Okay? You can love people without leading them, but in order to lead them, you need to love them. See, Colby trusted me when I was working with him. He trusted me to lead him. Everyone here influences people in some way, shape, or form. I influence my daughters, if it's what cereal they're eating or what dinner they're having, it's an influence, right? And so do you. You have that opportunity every single day. And in the business, I like to talk about, for me, I tell people when I started the business, I'm like, I won't do it for you, but I will learn whatever I need to learn in order to help you be successful. Because I didn't want people that I was working with thinking that just Brian did it for me. I did it myself. So I'm up here leading because there was a lot of females in our business that they weren't there yet. Does that make sense? So I was picking up the slack. I'm like, okay, well, I want women to think that they can do this, so I'll go ahead and I'll step up and get out of my comfort zone in order for them to think that they can do it too. So that's why I'm here. So I'm not always the most smooth talker. I'm not Brandon Boyd, but he was so great. A couple different things that he talked about that I'd like to share my stories with is, he was talking about family and father and being a good husband. I think some people in this room, they followed Brian and I because they saw our marriage and our family. And a lot of them were a part of it. And so they saw us working together and having a balance. Because it is important. Because what is success if you have no one to share it with? Right? So you can buy whatever you want, but at the end of the day, it's just money. And if everything comes crashing down, who's there to pick up the pieces? Okay? So every single day, you have 365 days. So people think, oh, you've got 1 year to hit this, or you have 1 year to hit that. No, you have 365 days of making choices. Every single day is a choice. And there's days that I don't want to go to a weekly meeting. I don't want to take the call. I get frustrated with people, but I love them. And even if I love them, I can still get annoyed with them. And, for Brian, I see him too. He grinds like nobody else's business. He works harder than anyone I've ever seen. But what I've respected about him over the last few years is he's learned balance in his life, because he was the early 20-some Julian that would grind until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, working it. And then I was like, Brian, I hope that Cameron and I, when we just had Cameron, I'm like, I hope we're here because it was different. This business is different when you have a family. And so you got to set some priorities and boundaries and things like that. And I think that, people talk about time freedom and financial freedom. And what Brandon was saying, I'm going to piggyback off of what he was saying about finding your why. See, when people come and sit down with me and I say, why are you doing this business? Look at me, eye to eye, why are you doing this business? And they're like, oh, I want time freedom and I want financial freedom. I'm like, I don't want to hear that regurgitated crap. I was like, I can hear that anywhere. Why are you doing this business? Because when somebody kicks you in the balls and you have to get back up, what are you going to do? Because sometimes it feels like that. I don't even have any, but it does feel like that. Sometimes, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just trying to keep it real here, At least I'm bringing some laughs here. Like maybe it's taking, see, Eric, I told you, I'm like, I get all nervous and worked up too. I was like, I can't drink the thunder. I drank it before, but I've got to drink water to get all nervous. Anyway, so we were talking about leadership, and I don't think there's any delusion in our teams that I love my people. I was proud to say, I remember when we were moving over and Brian said at our weekly meeting, he goes, I want to prepare you that there might only be like 10 people that show up. And after 4 years of working with all these people and just loving them to death, I didn't know how I could handle that. Then I looked for a second and I was like, well, I know about 90% of my team is coming with me. That's way more than 10 people. And they did, and even without them, corporate showed up. And that was the first time for us that actually happened. And they showed up. Robin and Gerald showed up. Mike Ray showed up. Richard showed up. And some other people that aren't here in this room, John Holbrook showed up. They showed up for us and they showed up for our team. Do you know why? Because they loved us and they believed in us and they wanted what we had, which was a culture of family. And that's what you guys have today. Good leadership. So take advantage of it and decide what kind of leader you are going to be for your group. Once you sponsored somebody in, it's not getting them in that counts. It's helping them work and get their goals and to reach higher, to be an asset instead of a liability with what you say and what you do and your actions that you take is what matters.